Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan selamat pagi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Firstly, nama saya adalah Zubair. Saya adalah pelajar tahun akhir, masih belum bekerja. Tapi saya mempunyai beberapa inspirasi yang saya boleh kongsikan. Dan saya harap peserta sekalian boleh bersama-sama berkongsi dengan saya apa yang saya dengan Arkitek Hong akan bentangkan.
If you can bentang, I'm just trying to explain. Today this lot, welcome, and I actually today stand here as a PAM Vice President because this lot supposed to be Professor Tajuk, so we are invited here to meet. So I'm also a lecturer here, which I think you all know. So we have with Subi, we have decided to get a very case which is very relevant to you all. Okay, so that's very basic things about this talk is all about. Okay, we are the third party. The actual speakers was with the firm going to KL PAM, under Y Arkitek. So they get nominated. So they are going down for maybe getting awards and things like that. So we are trying to explain the case through a third party eyes about achievement of a thesis student some years ago. Okay, so that you get a clear picture about this. Okay, thank you.
Jangan tunggu slide. Arkitek ataupun bakal arkitek seperti saya ataupun seperti tuan-tuan sekalian yang telah bekerja sebagai arkitek maupun yang terlibat dalam bidang reka bentuk, sama ada dari segi perancangan bandar, arkitek landscape, bagaimana kita dapat memainkan peranan dalam masyarakat, maknanya dari segi pembentukan masyarakat, dari segi sumbangan. So dalam slide ini nampaknya ada masalah sikit technical kat sini, tak boleh nak bagi the slide show. Okey, dalam slide ni saya meletakkan tajuk Architects and its role to the societies. Kita melihat role ni bukan sahaja dalam rangka yang besar, tapi juga sebagai semangat yang kecil juga memainkan peranan. So some do big but small is good. Dan kita tidak menganggap bangunan ataupun perancangan ataupun Senibina yang mempunyai impak yang besar itu sahaja memberi sumbangan kepada masyarakat, tapi sebagai individu yang mempunyai latar belakang reka bentuk ni juga boleh menyumbang dalam bentuk yang kecil, dalam bentuk yang pendidikan, dalam bentuk sumbangan ke arah lebih kepada society lah. Okay, what will you do after graduate? So, is it we just start working? Maksudnya, adakah kita hanya bekerja? Sebab semua kita tahu bekerja ni memang benda yang kita akan buat lepas bekerja. Tapi adakah hanya bekerja di office, adakah hanya dengan bekerja di bawah pentadbiran bos, ataupun bekerja dengan orang lah dari segi kata lain, adakah itu cukup? Adakah kita merasa puas ataupun kita merasa selesa dengan keadaan kita apabila kita lepas graduate, kita kerja and then start a living, make money? Adakah itu cukup sebagai manusia, sebagai peranan kita yang ada hidup, yang semasa kita hidup di atas bumi ni lah. So it needs more, not just a scroll of a degree certificate. Sebab kita tahu beberapa tahun, ada yang 5 tahun, ada yang 6 tahun dalam program belajar, dan kita tahu sepanjang kita belajar ni kita dah melalui macam-macam lah. Kita asyik fikir nanti user nak guna, nanti impact pada konteks, nanti apa yang future akan expect pada kita punya bentuk. Tapi bila kita bekerja, dia jadi macam robot, orang kata lah. Kita jadi just buat apa yang dikehendaki oleh klien, apa yang dikehendaki oleh kita punya majikan. So, apa yang saya nak kongsi di sini adalah sebuah kisah, a story of an ordinary person who also graduate as an architect di UTM, dan she's a lady, and then somehow she felt that there are more things to do besides working in the office. So dia kata dia rasa macam I need something to contribute, and she wanted to do something that can at least change, at least make the world see that there are something will happen in the future or currently will ada satu benda yang sumbangan yang membolehkan satu masalah atau satu konflik itu ada usaha untuk menyelesaikan lah. So dia dah rasa macam okay, I need to try something. So next. So this is her. Okay, this is her. Saya berkesempatan untuk berjumpa dengan dia semalam lah sebenarnya. Dan itu pun atas recommendation Arkitek Hong. Kemudian dia berkongsi dengan saya apa yang telah dia hasilkan. So next slide. Okay, this is how the story begins. So kami just have a little chat during dekat mana ni? KFC. And then dia dengan passionate, dia dengan semangat yang dia sepatutnya dia nak datang ni, kita punya talk, dia nak sampaikan sendiri dia punya idea. So tapi dia ada PAM Award di KL hari ni. So kami memberi input ni on behalf of her lah. So saya dan kita akan sama-sama memberi input apa yang telah Chan Wailai namanya, Chan Wailai bentangkan. So next slide. So this is her. Slide sebelum. Next. Okay, this is her. Okay, ini gambar dia baru graduate lah. Dia ada Diploma of Architecture, Bachelor of Architecture, also Master in Urban Design. I think most of seniors kenal kot yang graduate UTM.
Anyone know her? No, I think it's already, yeah, one.
Okay, dia okay, next. So dia ada satu, dia terlihat dalam website, ada satu competition.
She won the Just Jerusalem competition in year 208. Well, she was a thesis student in the final semester. Okay, she won it in 208, so she studied in MIT 4.5 months. All right, so this is basically entering competition is one of the encouragement where students can try. And Just Jerusalem is a competition where you demand a lot of understanding about the culture in Jerusalem, the conflict between the Palestinians and the Jews, and a lot of things. And yet she won the first prize with a prize money of 50,000 US. That's not the cash money, but it's the money that including the tuition fees and all this. So she was branded as a golden girl in MIT. You know, she was supposed to sponsor to fly into Jerusalem, but because of our country, we are barred from entering Israel. Jerusalem is part of Israel, and it's under the Israeli government. Our passport do not allow us to go there. Okay, today we want to share with you a story. Okay, that UTM students are not, you know, a very passive type. They are very aggressive. All right, I joined UTM in 1984-85. That batch are even getting politicians to come into the U and raise funds. And the first batch of thesis, when I just walked in as a young man, and they earn enough money, you know, to fly to Japan, you know, and Hong Kong after fundraising. Okay, so they use their intelligence and all this. So
next slide. So bila dia decide nak masuk tu, dia kebetulan pula ini adalah selari dengan thesis first stage dia. So dia cerita dia macam, oh, I can contribute to this. And then kalau dilihat dari sini, dari dalam website MIT ni, kalau dilihat dalam website MIT ni, dia dapat top prize winner. Dan ini adalah competition worldwide. Maknanya whole students or architect entering the competition. So dan juri yang menghadiri untuk pertandingan ni pun antara yang terkenal macam Sohar Uzkan. Sohar Uzkan ni adalah salah seorang arkitek dari segi regional arkitek yang famous. Dan Herman Hertzberger semua ni menjadi juri Just Jerusalem punya competition. And then dia punya achievement ni juga next achievement ni juga di-recognize dalam website UTM. Dia apa yang menarik, dia begitu passion dalam membuat study pasal Palestin dengan Israel. So pandangan dia tak nak melihat lebih kepada ini adalah on behalf of, saya cakap on behalf of her lah. Dia melihat pertemuan ni takkan selesai kalau kita sentiasa dengan senjata lah. Maknanya it will not be settled by suicide bomb, by rocket launcher and so on. So dia melihat dalam approach ni, dia melihat kepada perkembangan kanak-kanak, education for the children. So next. Okay, what is just Jerusalem? Ini adalah ada technical problem sikit. Is there any to add?
Actually, I know this competition while I was a thesis student under Professor Tajuk. Alright, in year 208. She was under me under project management, so she took that to present. So I know the whole story about this competition, and basically, I got a feeling was then that she will win, and she really won. And basically, she believed that you see, people like my age, we are really happy mode, and people who are very young, like children. Through education, then there's a hope to reconcile. And this competition is organized by MIT with the belief that academic has a role to play to keep peace in that regions. Alright? Now, while politicians disagree with that, therefore, Just Jerusalem is a competition where we try to look for a scheme, alright, a presentation where there's an effort by all over the world come up with an idea how to save, how to keep the peace in Middle East and create a generation of tolerance, loving each other's, and things like that. And you'll be surprised that in UTM they won the first prize. But people are not aware of that. You catch what I mean? If you see in the Muslim world, you see things this way. But you see in the Jewish Orthodox world, you see things differently. Okay? Of course, there's a non-believer, like communism and things like that. Then you'll see from the other angle. So basically, what Wildlife did, she explained all marked in red. Okay? Peace can never educate new generation and so on. It's all written very clearly there. Okay, next slide. Black. So this is the 4.5 months I think in MIT. So that's why this is a sign of encouragement. What UTM students should be proud about your senior and the things that you can do. All right, next please. So from yesterday, Sube, talking to her, she said it's quite an eye-opening for UTM students, and most of you have not traveled overseas. That's why by winning competition, those good competition, it will bring you somewhere. Okay, next. So this is MIT in Boston, America. And next. So you kind of snow here, right? So this experience, people love snow. Sculptures,
Actually, dia membentangkan apa yang dia menang, dalam competition itu di MIT lah. So dalam slide selepas ni, Mr. akan ceritakan apa yang telah dia. This is. So dari segi kisah ni, I'm a graduating architect too, and I will be working after I graduate. So I see this not too much different from myself and her. dan dia telah achieve satu contribution kepada masyarakat dari segi politik, dari segi konflik politik, konflik kemanusiaan, dan dia ada usaha ke arah itu. Kemudian maknanya saya can I play a role, maknanya saya juga boleh memainkan peranan dalam sebagai seorang pereka bentuk, sebagai seorang masyarakat sivil, sebagai seorang Muslim. Maknanya peranan ini tidak terbatas kepada latar belakang kita sebagai arkitek, tapi juga sebagai mempunyai kesedaran as a conscious person. So di sini saya melihat pertemuan saya dengan Willy ini memberi satu perspektif yang baru bahawa saya perlu menyumbang sesuatu, dan saya apa yang kelebihan yang ada pada saya perlu membawa kepada kebaikan yang lebih baik dalam apa yang saya pakari, dan untuk bukannya untuk kita saja, tapi untuk masa depan, iaitu anak-anak kita dan anak generasi yang akan datang. So next slide.
Now, after this, basically, in her absence, today, I try to show, we got her thesis slide. Actually, that she used a competition after winning that as a thesis presentation. So, she believed that the children village for Jerusalem. So, basically, she shared with us, with Sube, the amount of work, the study, but that she have a limited access towards information. She only got 4 books. And imagine what a wonderful thing ex-UTM student can do during thesis time. Okay? Next, please. Well, there's about 36 slides. So she was using a flow chart to explain. Because in this competition, she said that it's not just 4 pieces of drawing. They have to submit, it's not compulsory, but she has to submit and explain her thoughts, why this is important. Next, continue please. Next. So, Jerusalem is belong to whose city? Alright, the residents in Jerusalem are not very happy. Because the academician is trying to say peace. They already know with something, and who do you have to tell us what is peace is all about? Because in a way I can catch her meaning is that in Jerusalem, alright, they have to kill or conquer somebody or more strong than somebody in order to achieve peace. Peace is achieved by military build-up and things like that, which is the present world is all about. So you as a young thesis student, what is an architect role? Alright, you are very young, very pure and all this. Alright, the reality is very sad. People have to build up their strength to say, you know what is the incident that is happening around us in Asia and all this. We are going to another phase of massive military build-up in the name of maintaining peace, But wildlife is different. Wildlife say, let's start with children and education first, and all this. So this is where political Masyarakat Sube say, there's always hope. Alright? That, like Muhammad Gandhi say that you don't have to use violence, you don't have to use strength to convince people. Okay? Alright? It looks very sympathetical when Muhammad Gandhi was beaten. You saw the movie, right? Okay? When the follower is all patched up by the British colonial master and things like that. Before India gained independence. Okay, please. You see, it's what they need. I've not seen the slide, so this is exactly. Israel, Palestine, please, there's 30 slides. We want to give, the audience the excitement, so they share it. Keep moving on. They cannot share. They hate each other. Please move on. When you hate each other, you take a revenge. Okay? Alright? I hope that will not happen after the election in Malaysia. Where out of the blue, suddenly, then you realize that you are Chinese, and then suddenly people say, you won't be on the wrong side, So it's very confusing. Okay, I hope those things will not happen in our Tanah Air. Okay, please move on. So she say, that's the objective. Come up with vision, share in a piece, to design a place, alright, to design a place where people have some, under the concept of love and peace. Alright? Now, these to us, these are very holy things. Okay? But people in Jerusalem may think that it's a propaganda from UTM. This is student. How can you propaganda peace and love to me? Alright? So basically, I also have my own experience when I was a student in University of Melbourne. There's an Israeli student, and the way he thinks is very different. Okay? There's no humanity, human values, and things like that. I think we have a monster student where he say that people who cannot think, and his project submission is a zoo for mankind. So he's telling classmates like us, if you cannot think, there's no difference between you and the animal in the zoo. And he did a submission. So our lecturer in Melbourne University got a shot of his life and looking at him, looking at us, and we got a shock also as a student. Okay? Why people think like that? Okay? Total loss of humanity. Alright? So she persists that the love and peace must be, all this love. So that is the foundation. So we ask the student, when you talk about politics, Masyarakat, what is the underside of the value in your heart? That's why I say, not only her, all these years in UTM, like Anna, some years, she designed a project of prostitution in JB, She has a purple heart for the people, for the victims. And in the process of doing those theses, you enjoy it. Alright? So, think about it. When people say we are in the premium school, actually we are in the premium school. And who made this school premium? Is it us, the lecturer, or you? It's you, see. Okay? We can only add pepper and salt to your semangat. Okay? Kasih pedas sikit. Alright? So move on, please. A lot of slides. So I just want. You see, literature review. So now we are doing master architecture, right? So it's explaining all this. Now the detail you can actually read through the Just Jerusalem. Why this UTM shouldn't read? All right. So basically, it's the conflict about culture and religions down there. And they have 3,000 years of history. Imagine 3,000 years. In human civilization is a long story. That's why people are willing to die for it, and forget about the peace and love inside the city. Alright? So this is what she explained. I think you all can read, right? So next slide, because we have to save some time for debate. Alright? Please move on. So it's visions. Nowadays, the architecture competition, the previous slide we have to, So she explained how she go about it, education, environment, and specific group. Alright? Imagine mankind. In Chinese, Confucius say, when man is born, they are kind. But from some philosophy and another camp of the Chinese scholar against it, they say men are born evil. You know, so in just Jerusalem, if people believe that men are born evil, so you have to teach them what is love and peace. So Malaysians are born to be kind or evil. You know, I don't know. I'm not God or I'm not one. You know, I can't tell you. So this make you ponder about, you know, whole morning about this. Continue, please. And she want to start those children, but she wouldn't want to call it orphanage. It's discriminating. Okay, it's too stigmatized. You are an orphan. Okay, nobody loves you. Okay, she studied that. There's a lot of people use children as a human bone, so they go into the wet market and blow themselves off. You know, children, you tell them what to do, they will do it, and they detonate themselves. So she has a passion towards that. All right, next, continue. So she want to create a home for them, and she call it, you know, children village, community education and culture. Okay, and it's very touchy. And I believe because of these presentations, she won the first prize. You know, and the weakness of the UTM student share is that she's not very outspoken. All right. So she has a culture shock when she was in MIT. It's only 4.5 months. The last 1 or 2 months, she's more aggressive. You know, our student weakness are very lembut, like you all. You know, by the time you realize the role that you need to play, right? You know the American star in MIT, you have to be aggressive. Please, move on. Basically, this slide was taken by her. Actually, we try to invite her to give a talk to you all. If you wish, you know, it's better from her mouth. She can share more details. So if I can tell you more details about this, then something is wrong. Please, okay. I think this type of project presentation is more suitable for thesis student instead of showing a lot of high rise, you know, urban streetscape, you know. I mean, for this slot, you know, to set you thinking. All right. So this is basically her design. And she tried to take the orphan of the Palestinian and the Israel, the Jews, and actually they are mankind of the same species, right? But they have a different value system. I'm not very sure. All right, okay. It's like Pakistan and India. They say they are enemy for 1,000 years. Is it true? Do they have so much volume of hatred? I'm not very sure. Okay, so basically she developed her projects, and this is very research based. Now bear in mind, when she entered the competition, literature review wasn't in, because she's not doing master bachelor. So basically, most of the students who did the thesis basically I just refer information and do that. Okay, but this is different. She got 4 books. She said, I have not much access to the books, only have 4 books and some journal. All right. So it made her thesis very strong because it's a literature-based review thesis. So she was having this idea how, you know, all right. Now this is her dream. She shared when she had a competition. She using love and peace. When she went there, the reality seems to force her to agree that, you know what I mean, the world works the other way. All right, and that's the reason I think she comes back here again. All right. Okay, that's why with this sort of project, we hope that there should not be hatred accumulated within various culture, race. Because the world has shown us that it's very easy to create hate and need over a period of time. It was in your mind. you know, and you are no longer human, you are animals. But you cannot say like that, you know. Everybody pretend to be very decent, loving each other, but inside the heart, it's like Adolf Hitler. Okay? Do you want to see our country like that? Okay? Your senior does not wish to see that. So this is where you, alright, the young generation, decide our future. Alright? And it's you, through your thesis, you know, that's why sometimes you notice Mr. Hong, Arkitek Hong, you know, what is he talking about, you know? Okay, it's okay you don't like me, but please don't hate me, because when you hate me and all this, or I hate you or you hate me, then, you know, the next week will be revenge, and it's not healthy for everybody. Okay, so move on. So basically, it's a glance through, you know, like this, a very systematic way of doing design, very clear cut, and when design process is no longer here, you know, a lot of students just give end product. So design process, it will help the student to win the competition. See the amount of details for thesis, the building programs, you know, village management, things like that. She had this sort of perception. Well, she was a student, not after graduate. Please move on. Because this is done during her final semester in UTM. Alright? She cannot site visit. We have to use Google, you know, do it. You can use Google and things like that. Move on. It's such a wonderful place with all the olive oil, because when you have olive trees, you know, olive represent peace, right? But sadly to say, sarcastically, very cynical, you know, ironically, you know, it's all bullets. Hopefully not nuclear weapon one day over that place. Okay, courtyard, spot. Okay, this is how you translate. But you may not agree with her design, you know, the building proposal and all this. But she won. Okay. Alright, courtyard. Okay, move on. So she talked about design ideas, children village, you know. Okay. See the thesis presentation, very systematic. Move on, please. Okay. Olive oil is very expensive, if you go to school. Alright. Yesterday with Sube and me, she said her sketch is not very nice. But I told her her sketch is nicer than Shinohara. Shinohara is another generation after Kesotange. Alright, in University of Tokyo, last, the professor would come, right? You know, the professor, I said, how is Shinohara? Because when we were students, Shinohara gave a talk in Melbourne. And his sketch looks like cartoon, but his building, when he delivered his building, is so beautiful. And this professor from University of Tokyo said to me quietly, he said, Shinohara daughter is my PhD student. Okay? Like in UTM, who is the assembly head? Professor Faridwadi, right? Okay, those are the early founders. Okay, you'll be honored to teach their children. Okay, all right. Next, please move on. Okay, this is just basically explanation, but all the key situations are stated there. Please go one by one. Without missing next. Then humility. Then we talk about humility. You see all the skill down there in Jerusalem, it's not big. They don't have such thing called high-rise or grand entrance. Most of the things are, the material and things like that are very human scale. Alright? It's a very ancient city. Yeah? You know, archers and all this. Because these are all design tools where the people felt about those places. Okay, journey, in your second year, architecture journey, material use, and things like that. Okay, this is her sketch. But she said, oh, her sketch is very poor. So, Sube, our present student sketch is even more marvelous. Is it true?
It depends. I think maybe someday in the future kita boleh invite herself to present yang ini yang dia sampaikan ni. And dari segi, kalau tengok dari segi teori, dia yang dalam competition yang dia sampaikan tu memang nampak theoretically lah, faham? So macam mana dengan praktikal kan, dari segi challenge sebagai arkitek ni, sebagai kita arkitek banyak mempunyai, ramai arkitek mereka untuk perancangan bandar, ramai mempunyai idea dan semangat dia, kalau boleh dia nak contribute kepada masyarakat, kepada bandar lah. So tapi kadang-kadang dia ada challenge yang lebih, maknanya dia ada involvement of ada parti untuk halang dia daripada buat.
This is a very good question. You see, we do our best, okay, all right, but we may not able to change them. But in the history, people will remember us. Okay, great things are not happening, must be actualized. Now, this project by MIT delayed the war in Middle East, so the violence is lower. According to I think Quran or what, okay, the Holocaust, the Armageddon, could be the nuclear explosion in Jerusalem. You see, so all the indication then in 2008 is very tense. All right, financial crash down and things like that, crisis immediately after that. So we do our best. All right, and of course, you see, you may have a lot of money fees, pay to your project, but many of the projects nowadays are speculative. So as a student, you can demand to learn finance, because you don't know how to understand the finance system in the country. You don't know who can support you, because as an architect, you cannot rely on your own individual or family member's pocket. The money is too small. You need the bank. You see? All right. Now the question is that why we have Islamic banking? Yesterday, after Sufi and all this, I saw one young Malay chap next to a burger at 7-Eleven Swiss Kudai. He said, "Uncle, I study finance in Nilai University." So I said, "How much is the fees?" 500. And then he said, "Uncle, do you know that Islamic finance started?" The book tell him started in Hong Kong, where totally no Muslim. I mean, you hardly see any Muslim down the, wearing it. But there's a big mosque in Kowloon, all right. And Islamic finance start from there. That's why you don't have to be sorry to say for Hong Kong people. They say like that. Okay, they have Muslim friends, but to do good things, all right, it's from your heart, it's from human being. It's the same thing here. You don't have to be an orthodox religious to do good things, all right. But once you do good things, then you will become a good Muslim, or good Christian, or good Buddhist. You catch what I mean now? All right. So you start from you, start from your heart first. Okay. That's why I agree with Sube. This topic is very interesting. Politik, Masyarakat, all right, and architecture, and you yourself. You see, he put the beginning of his slide, you as a graduate, okay, or you before you graduate. What have you done? Alright? If you have done something good, you will become a very good Muslim. You know? That's what my belief is lah. You may disagree with that. You know? Alright? So, it's the end. You see the wishes are there. Children village for Jerusalem, a better future. And the end, last, you and me. Is the person himself. Or herself. Okay?
So, kalau tengok dari segi sistem negara kita lah, negara kita mengamalkan demokrasi. Tapi bagaimana demokrasi itu works dalam professional practice, mean that how the implementation of design, how the implementation of the construction field lah, pendapat.
Oh, it's a question, is it? Now it's like this. If you run a big firm, if you are the chief architect, my partner, Maggie is there. Alright? Like my biggest partner, Mr. Kwek, is a UTM graduate. Was a lecturer here for a few years, and we started the partnership in Atria because we have finished one penyelidikan on Atria, and we have done one consultancy to a listed company, Metropax. You know the Putra World Trade Center opposite, there's the mall. The Subisu contractor under the turnkey make the glazing, and it's all start to break because the installation at the edge there's a chipping. The safety factor was reduced by half. Okay. Now we went there, we set up those things. So when the firm are very big, half of the day, all right, the boss of the company have to make sure that there's enough money and reserve, pay the staff all the time. Okay, that's why architects now are either going bigger and bigger, and there's a kind of handling issue. Now, on the other hand, okay, you all as a student, if you know the current issue and the situation in UTM, in this region, there's a lot of rumah not as a cluster, but individual. They could not pay the bank and all this. There's another ex-student now working in the office. I shared with him, you can do renovation. Okay, you can improve. So when you are able to deal with the bank, get some money, buy the house, renovate, and like real estate say, you stay inside there. Well, you stay inside there, you try to sell your house. Okay, so these the many things that you can do. You provide services and things like that. But whatever you do is the present market situation. How do you survive? Now, are you going to survive it because, you know what I mean? You just survive because you just want to get enough money, or you want to survive, you get the money and get the good deed done. Alright? Alright? It's up to you. Alright? Another thing is that if you do not design building, as an architecture student, when I first joined UTM, like Professor Tajuk were talking to you, you make yourself a good commentators. You don't simply take out from literature and just say something. You do your fieldwork and you comment. You make the life better for your fellow Malaysians. Now, did our students do it nowadays? So, architect is so wide school. If you cannot do a small job or a big job, don't get disappointed. You can do good deeds. You know, what are the good spaces for people stay in Taman University? Now, Lau Xiongming last time when he was a student, he talked to me about current issue. You know, at Taman University, everybody knows that there are 2 Chinese coffee shops. You know, number 1 and all these, they put their table and chair all towards it. But he did a design. He used the lane inside there and proposed a thing. And he gathered the people around that to open the shop there. And the hawkers start to buy things. But we forget about the local authority because the local authority didn't play a part. So Lau Xiaoming lost 2,000. It's a lot of money, you know. So he come to me and said, Mr. I lost 2,000, okay, helping people. All right. Now to student 2,000 was a lot of money. That was year 2000. All right. But I told him, do you lost the money? Okay. Do you feel very bad inside here? Is it because of money? Then he start to think about it. He said, Mr. It's okay. I lost the 2,000. I can find it back. But I feel very proud. I do a survey for the hawkers, you know, for those auntie, uncle who hardly go to school, you know, have a very minimum education, you know. He proposed a dream, not a big dream, not an American dream, not a China dream, but just a dream along the street only for the people who run small business. Okay? I know most students are very holy. They hate businessmen. Okay? Alright? They won't tell Mr. I don't like you. Okay? He said, Mr. you're a businessman. When I first joined UTM, the Malay culture are like that. They don't like business. Okay? Actual fact, in Confucius teaching, you know, also they rank the businessman to the lowest in the society. Okay? Now, when you say architecture is a business, and you are going to be a businessman, you know, okay, when you graduate, you don't like it, right? Because of our education. But think about it, okay? We don't have to use word called businessman or all this. There's an instinct inside your heart. This little dream, you just improve one street. Now, until today, all right, his dream is, if you look at it, the center part of that street is still not, because it's dirty, not well maintained. All right? There's no political will into it. That's why today Tajuk is very good. The political will. The political will is not UMNO, MCA, DAP, no. The political will is what? Okay? Local authority is supposed to belong to the rakyat setempat tu. You catch what I mean now? Okay? So, as long as you can convince the people there, okay, as an architect or what, you may not get paid. You may get a lot of dollar, like the Muslims say. But the key thing is that you are very happy. That's why there is a student, you see, when I get old, what makes me going is this memory. You know, memory of the fun with some student, you know, that's why I never feel lonely. People thought I'm very lonely. I'm not lonely. I got a lot of students who have done well and share the knowledge. And I always remember those students who, during thesis time, you know, have a guts, make a move, do little things. You know, like if you go around Taman Sri Skudai or whatever housing nearby, you find that something, they sketch it. You know, now the student who do like Singcom, during the practical training in Singapore, Dr. Sai Iskandar asked me to go and check the student performance. You know what Singcom told me? Mr. You know, when I work practical training in Singapore, you know, my boss are very busy and ask me to involve in people action party program, community program. Is it allowed? Do we have to ask our government, say, is it allowed that our training students? So it's not that I don't care. I care, so I got to tell him, is that activity good for the mankind down there? He said yes. Actually, I learned a lot. You know, then he said he understands why PAP, People Action Party of Singapore, right, are holding power grip in the area. I said, you learn something. It's nothing to do with what? It's the heart. You catch what I mean or not? Alright? It's the heart. So I said, we don't have to report that in the logbook, but it's the heart that counts. So when he starts to get himself, you know, involved in that, alright, he learns a lot of things. Now he's the number 2 in a Singapore firm. That's why he come there and give lecture to you then. And he start to say, the boss asked him to play golf, get more jobs. And the moment the ex-student told you like that, I know that he's not happy. He's happy to do little things, you know, meaningful, and get the salary. Okay? I tell you, that is the quality of those UTM students that I remember.
Okay,
Small thing, but wonderful.